Keep your distance.
While they're deceiving me, it cuts my immunity. TV's got control of me. I turn it on, they say.
But this is not over yet.
Don't trust the man with the orange skin, oh no.
It comes from China. There has to be some form of punishment.
Don't mess around with the CDC numbers. Oh no, I can't believe it. We gotta make him a billionaire, oh yeah.
And then the final solution, which is a year to 2 years off, is the vaccine.
I wear my face mask in my house so I can stop a symptomatic disease spread to myself. And I wear my face mask when I bike so I can placate all the Karens at the park. And now the who is deceiving me. Trade freedom for security. TV's got control of me. I turn it on, they say. Don't take it off till the vaccine's here, oh no. Get microchipped and go back to work, oh yeah. Oh no, I can't believe it. He's not just a nerd, he's like a doctor too, oh yeah. The contact tracer's knocking at my door, oh no. I'm just a number.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk is Cheap, episode 147. We are live. It is July 31st, 2020. That's a little parody to get us going here because this world is nuts, and we're finding that out very clearly. Joining me as always is Pete on my left.
How's it going, Dano?
What do you think? We're in a freaking sick fair of a state.
I'm still a little beside myself. This guy looks a lot like me. You know, he's built like me and structure, but that's not me. Although I wish I could take credit for that video. It's pretty interesting.
How you do?
Dude, Dan, I'll tell you, man, I'm tired. I'm just like tired of the crazy, tired of people being mean.
Yeah.
Tired, tired of the hate. It's just, it really wears on you, man. But it's summertime in Wisconsin, which is always a beautiful time, and it's been a beautiful few days, and it's just nice to be out, see all the green, and gardens doing well, so.
Well, we got a lot to cover today. I definitely want to get on talk about some of the COVID stuff today. We're gonna Corey Good has a UFO briefing. We gotta talk about or another briefing he had. We can as well. Yeah. But we're going to go on ahead and hit the face mask stuff first because that's our front and centered here with that.
Yeah, for those that may not know, we do reside in the great state of Wisconsin. And tomorrow is the first statewide mask mandate going into effect.
Fuck you. How you like that?
And Dan really, really loves all things face masks, don't you, Dan?
Oh, yeah. So Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers issues a statewide mask mandate aimed spike in coronavirus cases. Everybody's, by the way, that looks like a coffee filter on his face. That might help you when you're scared of your own shadow, if you want to filter out some of your beans out of your voice or something like that, I guess. But unbelievable. This really pisses me off, and this show is going to get censored. I know that already, folks, so just whatever, because it's done with. YouTube's done. Everything's done. But the good thing about this is actually, the law enforcement ain't really going to enforce this in our area. So this is on our news channel 8. Mm-hmm. Multiple area law enforcement agencies will not enforce statewide mask mandate. The city of La Crosse basically says it will look for voluntary compliance. And then Vernon County here.
Oh, yeah. Did Vernon County weigh in?
It says we will not be devoting time and resources to civil complaints regarding the public health order concerning masks. So this is how we fight back. We fight back on. This is why you got to have good sheriffs. They want to enforce constitutional rights. At the end of the day, you should be responsible for your own health. why should, and if people are too scared to go out, stay home. Okay? This isn't like time to like sit here and lock everybody up for a 99% what am I?
Survival
rate.
Or more
Thank
than
you.
yeah, greater. That's way greater than that. You know, it's like, you know, the chances of actually contracting it are pretty low, and then the chances of actually dying from it are even lower. You know, it's nice that I do appreciate that our sheriff in our county is leaning towards, you know, freedoms and stuff. But God, Dan, you know, there's like idiots out there, man. You know, and I think that the whole discussion should go away from masks and whether or not they're effective and whether or not we should wear them to, is this whole COVID thing, does it really reach the merits of a pandemic? Interesting stat I heard today on driving here, Dan. NPR was talking about, or Wisconsin Public Radio was talking about Wisconsin coronavirus death tolls. And I thought it was very interesting. They said, oh God, how did he phrase it? And there's been X amount of people in the state of Wisconsin that have died from COVID pandemic related something or other. It wasn't from the coronavirus or from COVID-19. It was from the COVID. So-and-so X amount of people died related to the COVID pandemic was how they said it.
Well,
they didn't say died
right,
from
because
coronavirus.
you can have suicides, you can have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, right. And I thought that was a very interesting way
of wording it.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like, they're so focused on like new cases, that even though the death rate's just like.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is the more people test, more cases are you going to find, right? And that death rate is not going to change that much just because you're finding new cases, right? Whether or not you're tested, if you get COVID and you're going to die from it, you're going to die from it anyway. It's not like you're not going to die if you didn't get tested, right? So you just test more and more people, you're going to get all these people testing positive, but then now all of a sudden the death rate's going to stay the same because you're dying whether or not you got tested.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so that percentage, of course, the more people you test, that, and then that's going to drop and drop and drop. I find it extremely interesting when I start looking at, you know, previous flu pandemics and in the United States and around the world. It's like, boy, really that much of an increase from normal allegedly is enough for to shut down the world. But I don't know, Dano.
Well, here is on screen. I mean, first it's the mask, and then vaccine, and then chip for require. I mean, that's all you have to do is substitute mask for.
They want
and
when I say they, I'm going to say like Bill Gates and cronies want to make 7 billion vaccines. Okay.
And they're cutting corners when they make this too.
Yeah.
Not that I trust them anyway.
Oh yeah.
But think about it. There's an incentive to get this out there. They got billions of dollars to make.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna cut corners because they want to be first.
And they're going to require people, to get it and stuff. And we're doing a show on DNA, RNA vaccines coming up. It'll be airing in a couple weeks, and we dive into that as well. And like, whoa, look at where this money is going and where it's coming from. So. There's lots of money to be made. There's lots of control of people to be had too, right? I still think that there's all sorts of different social experiments that have been launched since the COVID pandemic took everybody's attention, got everybody's attention.
So on screen here, so everything in blue requires a mask, and now you can cross Wisconsin off.
That was and that was I was going to say that was a week ago.
Yeah, this is from the 23rd.
Yeah, a week ago.
I think you can say the whole U.S. is going to go this way because that's what they want.
So blue is required mask. Is that in some form, or just is that like public mask mandates? Do we know?
Yeah, it would be public mask mandates because it's.
Yeah, and it looks like in Alaska there's a county or a region there, and then it's by county in Wisconsin.
Anchorage, I suppose, there.
So orange was good, blue is bad. Okay.
And I think green's good because they actually
disputed. Yeah, there's one. Oh no, there's some down in the
Georgia.
Southeast there. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know my states that well. Is that that's Iowa there? There's one in Iowa getting disputed too.
So yeah,
we're going there, Dano.
But here we got stuff like this. Mr. Wear Your Mask not wearing a mask in Georgia. This is Governor Cuomo. Shaking everybody's hands that are wearing masks. He's not.
And he's hugging the guy. He's putting his face on the side of the other guy's face.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, man. That looks like Tom Wopat a little bit on the left there, but it's not. Anyway, I digress. So, oh, boy, Dan.
And then we got the DC order that I want to bring up.
It's not even like people that are wearing masks are wearing them right anyway, right?
Well, there's no point. It's about compliance, not about safety. That's all I want is people to comply. As long as they do that, that's why some people, they just throw them on their chin just to get people to shut up.
Yep.
So this was the DC order that she put into effect that makes everybody wear a mask in Washington, D.C. Interestingly, you scroll down to the exceptions. The enforcement provisions of this order shall not be applied to persons in the judicial, legislative branches of the district government while those patrons are on duty, and shall not apply to any employees of the federal government while they're on duty. So let's exempt ourselves from a stupid bill you write.
Right, and if it's like, where's this leading by example, right? I mean, if what's good for the goose is good for the gander, man, that's peculiar. But we don't have to. Is that Fauci?
This is Fauci without a mask.
But once Dr. Fauci thought he was off camera, the mask came off literally. You want to see hypocrisy in action? Look at this. Here's Dr. Fauci sitting within 6 feet of other people in a mostly empty stadium without wearing his mask. Ooh. Well, he was immediately called on this, but rather than copping to it and being honest, he acted like so many people in power do and scorned anyone criticizing him. Watch.
I think this is sort of mischievous with this thing going around. I had my mask around my chin. I had taken it down. I was totally dehydrated, and I was drinking water, trying to rehydrate myself.
Okay.
And by the way, I was negative COVID literally the day before. So I guess people want to make a big of that. I wear a mask all the time when I'm outside. To pull it down, to take some sips of water and put it back up again. I guess if people want to make something about that, they can.
Yeah, but he got caught, totally busted.
Did you see, though, that now he wants to start pushing goggles?
I did hear that. Yeah, eye protection, because there's some doctors have contracted it through their eyes, they say, like through droplets that got in their eyes.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, then what's next? You have to wear these shoes. You gotta
you'll have little
down.
Yeah, yep.
Stand on your head.
Little screens over your ears.
Oh my
stuff.
God. This is a report. I'm just gonna fast forward right to the part that I want to show you. Unbelievable in a news report, but yes, this is what we're dealing with here.
Is this a COVID testing site?
This was in, well, it's either Florida, Texas, or California.
Site in Houston, Texas.
Houston.
Texas hospitals are
Look
seeing
at that.
3 times as many COVID
Dummies.
patients as
Wait,
they
go
did
back.
Those are
days
dummies.
ago.
Go back. Go
The
back.
governor
Those are dummies. Do you believe in?
Go back. Go back.
I'll back up here. There's the close shot. That is
Oh,
a
look
dummy.
at that hand
They blur the face out on it.
to make it look legit.
This is what we're dealing with. If the pandemic was that bad, they wouldn't have to do that. They wouldn't have to sink to this level. It's just unbelievable. I couldn't even
Well, that's not a dummy.
and then they can show a close-up of, maybe the guy's just in the hospital for something else.
got in a car wreck or something, right?
It's unbelievable. It must just be like,
There's like a little star on that one's hand. They got a tattoo. Yeah. Oh boy. Damn. Look at that.
so the deception's off the charts is what I'm getting at. We'll touch on a little more on QAnon later, but I want to bring this up now since we're talking about the COVID stuff. So COVID-19 narrative ends the day after the election.
Yeah, everybody's been saying that wait until the election's over and then it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, this was post 4587. Expect cyber attacks attempts on November 4th.
Well, I don't know. I think that anybody can say that. I mean, there's cyber attacks on every election night, right?
And this is just about the election. Here's AOC. She had to pull this down. She got caught, so she pulled it down, but somebody got a screenshot of it.
Oh my God.
And she tweeted out, "It's vital that governors maintain restrictions on businesses until after the November elections because economic recovery will help Trump get reelected. Few business closures or job losses is a small price to pay to be free from his presidency."
Oh my God.
That is sick.
Well, she's been known to post some pretty out there stuff, man.
Have you watched the video with Dr. Stella Emanuel at all?
I don't think so.
So a lot of these, let me give a little background. these doctors, a good handful of them got together, did their own press conference because they're sick of this bullshit.
Yep. And so they held their. Yep. Okay.
Yep. So this black lady talks about hydroxychloroquine being.
Yeah, that's a whole interesting conversation again here, isn't it? That's like, if we can believe what we've been hearing, there might be something to that.
So I got just a couple clips that we'll play here and listen to her that I thought was real interesting. That, wow, why suppress these people?
I have personally treated over 350 patients with COVID. Patients that have diabetes, patients that have high blood pressure, patients that have asthma, old people. I think my oldest patient is 92, 87-year-olds. And the result has been the same. I put them on hydroxychloroquine, I put them on zinc, I put them on Zitromax, and they are all well. For the past few months, I've taken care of over 350 patients. We've not lost one. Not a diabetic, not a somebody with high blood pressure, not somebody with asthma, not an old person. We've not lost one patient. And on top of that, I've put myself, my staff, and many doctors that I know on hydroxychloroquine for prevention, because by the very mechanism of action, it works early and as a prophylaxis. We see patients, 10 to 15 COVID patients every day. We give them breathing treatments. We only wear surgical masks. None of us has gotten sick. It works. So right now, I came here to Washington, D.C. to say, America, nobody needs to die. The study that made me start using hydroxychloroquine was a study that they did under the NIH in 2005. That say it works.
So did
she just say that she wears masks though? I just wanted to point that out.
She basically said she didn't have to always wear them. The study is right here. I got it up on screen. So Anthony Fauci oversaw the NIH at this time, and it says chloroquine as a potent inhibitor of SARS coronavirus infection and spread. Chloroquine is effective in preventing the spread of SARS-CoV in cell structure. Favorable inhibitors of virus spread was observed when the cells were either treated with chloroquine prior to or after SARS-CoV infection. So this is the study she read. There's all kinds of science and all that good stuff in there.
From almost immediately they were talking about this drug, and then I think what happened is either the people that own the patents or whatever, or the people that sell it, aren't in the right position, so they said, we can't have that. There's more money to be made, and there's more control to be had. So
well, that's the thing here. The other thing, this is why I got pissed at Trump for these last couple of weeks. I mean, he kind of got a little bit better this week when he retweeted that lady, but he was pushing the remdesivir. That's $1,000 a pop for that. The chloroquine's only 60 cents.
Yep.
And then he's talking about vaccines, and he's pushing the mask. And then, of course, using the military to deliver the vaccines with Operation Warp Speed. That has me a little like, okay. So,
yeah, Operation Warp Speed.
So to bring back up let's talk about these tests, because these things ain't like the most accurate. Number one, they're giving false positives. And also, like, I'm going to show this article up here too. There's guys that swabbed nothing, sent in the test, and then they come back COVID positive. There's people that stand in line.
Yeah. Fill out the paperwork.
Don't test because the line's long. They leave.
And they get a letter a week later saying they're positive. I heard that. I actually had a coworker supposedly that happened to his parents or his aunt and uncle or something. But
and then
we should do that sometime, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Go fill out the paperwork and just leave. I mean, aren't they doing some testing locally here?
They did the other week. I don't know if it's still going on or not.
We should find out.
I almost hate to even feed them because they just use every number they can get. There's also another thing, too, that they do. If somebody tests positive, they will retest them the next day. It gets counted as another case.
Oh, well, that's just double dipping. Then.
It is.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous what's going on here.
Well, see, Dan, from the get-go, I said they need to make this a pandemic to justify what they did to everybody and what they're doing to people. If this isn't a pandemic...
Well, no, it's not even that. It's about the election. Well, it's plain and simple. Joe Biden can't have a presidential debate. We got to skew some numbers here and lock everything down so he can't
actually,
stage.
yeah, and talk. Yeah,
They can't even talk.
Yeah, it's rough.
We got shit like this. Look at this.
Yeah, our leadership is
COVID-19,
rough.
pawpaw and goat test positive for virus.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
So President John Meaningful of Tanzania has stated that a pawpaw, goat, and quail tested positive for coronavirus in the country. He said this was secretly after he had a variety of animals, fruits,
and vehicle
oil tested at National Laboratory Oil. So there you go. And he says right there the virus may not be.
I'll say that the goat maybe, because allegedly they're seeing cats and dogs now being carriers of coronavirus, and they're worried it's going to go to wild animals and then go out in the wild and mutate and then come back. Yeah. Apparently that's how other viruses operate, if you're to even believe any other viruses. Because really, this whole COVID thing, man, I mean, it's political, yeah, but it's calling into question, are we really susceptible to any of these viruses we're hearing about? I suppose people in the 1918 or early 1900 flu pandemic would disagree with me, but
she also called out, I was going to play this clip too. She called out Fauci here, which was awesome. No one's holding that guy accountable. He needs to be held accountable.
My message to Dr. Anthony Fauci is, when is the last time you put a stethoscope on a patient? That when you start seeing patients, like we see on a daily basis, you will understand the frustration that we feel. And you need to start feeling for American people like we, the frontline doctors, feel. And you need to start realizing that they are listening to you. And if they're going to listen to you, you got to give them a message of hope.
Oh, he's only listening to one person. That's Bill Gates.
Yeah.
His saviors.
And well, I'm sure he's listening to his investment brokers too. and putting money into the right places.
All right. Did you want to add any more stuff on the mask before we're going to take a short break, I think, and then we'll like a 30-second break?
I don't think anything I say is going to
I mean, I'm pissed off. I just wanted to make sure everybody had time to vent. I mean, I see the chat room's pretty pissed about all this too.
I will say this about masks, okay? If we are to believe anything we've seen in movies since we've been little kids, is that when a giant viral outbreak occurs, people wear masks. And at some point, I mean, are we really throwing out all scientific research and study on viruses because of COVID, or are we allowed to understand that viruses may be inhibited with mask wearing? My whole take on that is that if there is a virus that's going around and it's as bad as everybody says, that masks do help. So just try to wear a mask if you can when you're around about.
I don't know. There's a lot of evidence that says they don't help either. So I think everybody should do what they want to do.
I haven't seen any of that evidence with proper mask wearing. But I've seen an awful lot of evidence that if you improperly wear masks,
which everybody does. There's a lot of people.
It's a circle. We're right, because nobody's wearing the masks right. So yep. So we're full circle, man. So
there's also the thing going around. Wearing masks will actually make a false positive happen more often.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof, I haven't seen that. I'd like to look into that. I will look into that.
So they could be doing that. So people get sick, go into the doctor, test them. Oh, he's got COVID. Let's bring those numbers.
Yeah, but it doesn't
up
matter.
more.
You go in for a heart attack, they're going to give you COVID. So if you die at a hospital right now, you've got COVID.
But what I'm saying is the mask will make a lot more people go in that wouldn't. So that'll increase the numbers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that we'll see that play out here in the next couple of months as everybody's going mask crazy across the country and the world.
Okay, we're going to take a short break from our sponsor. And we'll be back. 30 seconds, folks. Or no, actually, it'll be longer for those on the podcast, but 30 seconds for the video, folks.
Band.video presents Real Stable Genius.
Real Stable Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Mask in the Car Wearer.
Mr. Mask in the Car Wearer.
You go from your bed to your bathroom to your kitchen to your car, and that mask never comes off your face.
It's part of
help me! It doesn't matter that you live alone, sleep alone, and are alone in your car. You won't spread that deadly virus to yourself.
Don't make me quarantine me!
If you're told to wear a blindfold or never leave your house, you wouldn't question, because you'll always bow to authority.
Freedom is deadly!
So crack open an ice cold Cuck Light, Mr. Mask in the Car Wearer, and let it sit there and get warm, since you can't drink it through your mask.
I'm told I'm not thirsty anyway!
Cuck Light, Austin, Texas.
Cuck Light, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta love those.
That was pretty good.
Oh, I couldn't resist. So, yeah, I wanted to also mention that, remember I told you I did that mask video, you only agreed with 80% of it, whatever.
Yep. I just thought some of the testing they were doing was like hogwash, but yes. But yeah, but a lot of them had good points in there.
2 of the sections I had to cut out. I had to wait for a copyright dispute, so I put up an edited one on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So the copyright dispute went through after a month. I posted it. Within an hour,
it's down.
It get pulled down. Somebody reported it.
The stuff that was under dispute, and then
it was good because it had the 2 doctors that like kind of drove a lot of my points home.
Mm-hmm.
That one's down.
Oh yeah, where they, at that conference where they were talking about virology and immune system and stuff. Those anyway.
No, it was a different guy.
Okay.
About the mask microns and all that.
Oh sure.
But that got pulled down. But I still have the edited one up there. But the only way you can see the whole uncut one the way I wanted it is up on BitChute.
Mm-hmm.
Then later I get hit with a copyright notice on the Anthony Fauci thing when I showed that he said not to wear a mask back in March. So I don't know if they're trying to like flag that and try to get rid of the evidence or what's the deal.
You know, Dan, part of the game, the strategy here is just to bog it down and make it so freaking painful for you that you're just going to give up, right? You know,
that's exactly,
yeah. It's like filing frivolous lawsuits just to tie up things to slow it down.
I always try to wear you out. It just never stops.
It's a strategy, man. It's effective.
So have you heard about these? We're going to touch real quick on this because there's not much to talk about it, but these seeds from China. Let's play this report and then we'll talk about it.
Across the country are getting unsolicited packages. Listen to this, containing seeds, apparently from China. The USDA has now put out a warning saying not to open these packages or even plant the seeds. Authorities say anyone who receives one of these packages should avoid touching the contents. Carefully put it in a plastic bag and call the State Department of Agriculture. Officials say the seeds could be an invasive species, which can be detrimental to native plants, insects, and crops, causing great damage to the local environment.
So what do you think, Pete?
Oh, I would totally plant some of those in a pot on my front porch to see what came up.
Yeah, but if it's an invasive species, maybe it's going to be airborne. And...
Well, it's not going to like all of a sudden, like in one day, like you go out and there's vines growing up, everything, you know, you can control.
I would say it's still doing it like in a contained household area.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, you know, newsflash, there's invasive species everywhere when we go outside. We just don't want.
But why would they be sending that? You know,
they obviously forgot to put a flyer in for the seed company they're advertising. I would totally do that though, Dan. I would monitor it. I wouldn't let it get away. I wouldn't let it like outdoor flower and go to seed and just wisp off into the distance.
Brad in the chat says I planted some last night. Seemed to be okay.
Hey Brad, if that's really the case, you know, I want you to keep us posted and send us some photos and stuff. And I just want to say I've been kind of keeping an eye on the chat. I would say Barbara Wheel, you know, the whole mask thing, it's about choice, right? So stick to your guns. If you want to do it, do it. I totally support that choice.
And the loophole is to say you have a medical condition. They're not supposed to let you. You can't question what your medical condition is.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a card, a piece of paper to produce to show it to them either. So that's your thing.
That's the loophole, and I guess you could actually take them to court.
But the problem is that just like these, you know,
people are brainwashed. That's the problem.
But it's like these emotional support animals, right? You know, hey, this is an emotional support animal. Eventually, nobody believes you. And so if you really do have a condition, all these people saying they have a condition that don't are taking away from those that do. And as a result, I mean, seriously, man, Dano, people are getting like stomped in the streets for not wearing masks right now.
I know that. That's why I've been hiding out in my secret underground
lair. And other, and actually it goes both ways too. Sometimes people show up with a mask and they get stomped by the non-mask
I feel more
wearers,
offended by people wearing masks, to tell you the truth. It scares the hell out of me.
Why would it offend you?
It scares me. Like if I was a kid, that's first thing is clowns, second somebody wearing a mask.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Well, how about a clown mask?
That's the worst of
Dan,
both
have
worlds.
have you gone online and looked at all these cool graphics they're putting on masks now? Like people with like just snot running down their face and like, missing teeth and stuff.
I like the ones that say this mask is as useless as my governor.
There you go. So maybe you could, at least keep one for when you have to go somewhere that requires one. You can say a message.
Casper says it right in the chat. Good time to rob a bank. That's exactly right.
Yep. Well, you know what though? Where's the facial recognition people on this, or are they just now completely adjusting algorithms to identify people wearing a mask?
Exceptions that said, or if you have to take it down for facial recognition.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but maybe that's another ploy too. It's like we're getting to the next level of AI here. You used to be able to beat these cameras just by, pulling something up over your face. Maybe they're working on a better one that'll cue in on your eyes and stuff.
Let's we got a transition here.
Right on, go for it.
Wild women, the ripping and the tearing.
Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna get some UFO stuff. I know a lot of people want to hear this stuff. Tucker Carlson, let's listen to his report.
This is a Fox News alert. There are new findings tonight in the search for extraterrestrial life. The New York Times reporting that a secretive Pentagon unit tasked with investigating UFO sightings is quite likely releasing some of its findings soon. And those findings could be stunning, particularly for people who have doubted the existence. The Pentagon has been conducting classified hearings on UFOs for more than a decade. We know very little about what they've found. But apparently, just recovered are off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. That's a direct quote. We're not exactly sure what they mean by that.
Oh, yeah.
But some of it's self-evident. So it's a big story, and we are scouring through the reporting on it right now. We'll bring you much more right here tomorrow night.
So huge stuff.
So you've had just a major news outlet disclose aliens, and nobody cares, Dan.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
It's why the mask is a distraction too.
Oh my God! You know what? Are they going to come down wearing masks? You know what? If the aliens come down and get out of their UFOs and they're wearing a damn 3-ply mask for coronavirus, I think that a lot of people will get on board with that.
So Pentagon has off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. This is from Popular Mechanics headline. You scroll down this article. Now what this was about was Dr. Eric Davis.
Yep.
Talked about him before. He's an astrophysicist. He said he consulted with the Pentagon's original UFO program, and he told the Times he examined certain materials. He came to the conclusion that we could not make them ourselves. Davis briefed the Department of Defense as recently as March about retrieving materials from off-world vehicles not made of this Earth.
Okay, here's the out here. We've got a vehicle manufacturing plant on the moon. Run by Americans or the elite or whatever you want.
Well, they'll talk about that later, but
because Dan, I when those videos first surfaced, I said, well, this is alien, and then after talking to my laser physicist buddy who worked on some pretty crazy stuff back in the 80s, and doing a little research about these ion bubbles to reduce friction and stuff, I leaned heavily toward, well, this is just some technology that's being repressed that we're not allowed to see as public. Well, now this just throws it right back on its ear. I'm now back to the alien UFO camp.
It's both, if you ask me.
I think that a lot of sightings are that could be both, right? That we've got some technology. Obviously, if we're studying these off-world vehicles, we're putting them in military, top secret military vehicles, land, air, sea, whatever have you. But then again, if we receive them from an off-world source, who's to say that the off-world source just isn't still happening too? And when people are seeing weird stuff, seeing lights, getting abducted, it could be very easily a combination of both.
Apparently that Tic Tac UFO, those
was
videos
ours.
Was ours, yeah.
Yep, right.
And that was what another secret insider was saying when he came for. There was another
Mm-hmm.
show, whatever. Can you believe him or not?
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dan, because it didn't. This article didn't point to those videos being from off-world. It was just, that was what the Air Force released or officially recognized. What, 6 months ago, 8 months ago? It was when the Air Force finally came out and said, "Yeah, that's
probably almost pushing a year now."
Has it been that long? I know it was a good 18 months from when they leaked to when the Air Force acknowledged them. Anyway, so yeah, they weren't trying to make that connection there. So yeah, you're right, Dan. It's both, right? We've back engineered some stuff. We're testing it, but in the meantime, we're picking up stuff out in the desert with weird hieroglyphs on it and stuff.
Right. So this goes back to what I was talking about with the TTSA, Tom DeLong. We're gonna get into that, and they also were questioned about why you keep putting the threat level on here. I'm gonna play those clips here shortly. But the Department of Defense is creating a task force to gain knowledge and insight into nature of origins of the UAPs. So this will be to detect, analyze, and catalog. So basically, this is just a public now Project Blue Book is what they were talking about, and then TTSA is going to be a part of this with that app, which hasn't been released yet.
And that's going to be so watered down. Any information we get from them is going to be just so censored and run through so many things. But you know what? It's better than zero.
Yeah.
I mean...
But I don't know. Yeah.
Is there a button on any of these things that we can cure coronavirus with?
The one putting this forward is
Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio is very interesting. Let's listen to this report here again.
Wants a detailed report on what the government knows about UFOs. The Florida Republican pushing legislation that would force the Director of National Intelligence to detail information about UFO origins, frequency, and potential threat to national security. Earlier this year, the military released video of 3 encounters by Navy pilots that had been leaked online. This is not a joke story, and we're following it.
And nobody cares, Dan.
Notice how he had to fit that in there just because of how bad
because that's how people have treated it.
been.
We've been conditioned to treat anything fantastical like this as just completely made up and stupid. I mean, think of how many times, Dan, you've been laughed at in your face when you talk about aliens and UFOs.
Yes.
Thousands, hundreds, I mean, people just assume you're being funny about it. It's crazy.
There's still people, like, even that some I work with that laughed about me about it, and I was like, what about those UFO? Because now you got the military talking about it.
Yeah.
He's like, well, yeah, I can't explain those. It's like, I told you this was happening.
Yeah,
but,
or they'll be like,
but it
oh,
still
they
ain't aliens yet, because that's not possible.
Yeah, but they don't. It's part of the government. They don't know what they're talking about. It's just another conspiracy. It's crazy.
Well, they said, oh, it can be explained with physics, so that's okay. So here's a clip of Rubio on a podcast talking
Time travel can be explained by physics.
Right.
No, look, here's the interesting thing for me about all this, and the reason why I think it's an important topic, okay? And that is we have things flying over our military bases and places where we're conducting military exercises, and we don't know what it is, and it isn't ours. So that's the legitimate question to ask.
The threat level.
I would say that
threat level midnight.
Frankly, that if it's something of outside this planet, that might actually be better than the fact that we've seen some technological leap on behalf of the Chinese or the Russians or some other adversary that allows them to conduct this sort of activity. But the bottom line is, if there are things flying over your military bases and you don't know what they are because they're not yours, and they exhibit potentially technologies that you don't have at your own disposal, that to me is a national security risk and one that we should be looking into. And so that's the premise I begin with.
Let's clear this up.
Well, we already have. It's like,
who's that dude on the right?
His name is Jim DeFede.
DeFede, yeah.
But you would rather have it from the outside alien threat than somebody, or outside, I shouldn't say threat, outside alien
presence,
yeah, rather than other person living on the planet because you're so worried about the Chinese.
Well, yeah, because you know why? Because if it really was an alien presence, we would at least know that they didn't mean us harm, because if they did, they'd done it already, right? Unless they're just waiting for us to mine all the crap out of the earth and they come take over and melt down our gold.
This goes back to see, TTSA has had their second season on History Channel. There's on episode 4 now, I believe, will air tomorrow. One of them was on the TR3B.
Really?
They basically they didn't give too much credence that it was like ours. But they basically said that the Chris Mellon, he knows a lot, but he was basically saying that this was a map. It was mapping the ground. This TR-3B.
Oh, like with just basically like scanning it or whatever like that.
Underground radar or whatever, scanning everything. And it's like, oh, this is a big issue because if these are alien off-world things, they're going to know where to, like, what our plumbing is and all this stuff and all that.
Yeah, I can see that,
underground bases
but
we
they
got
wouldn't
over there.
they would not send a large craft like that down. They would have all these little orb probes and stuff. Yeah, right. It'd be little balls of light like you see out at Skinwalker Ranch and stuff. And Marco Rubio, I appreciate his efforts, man. Actually, a little bit of respect there for him to come out and say this. But FYI, Marco, these things are flying over not just military bases, everything, cities, people's houses, and doing all sorts of stuff. But I can see from his point, to get action on it, you got to take it from a national security standpoint. So good job, keep it going.
Definitely.
I don't remember if there was anything else on this clip. I'm going to play the rest
Who
of it.
would be looking into this, and they would be generating some sort of a publicly available report on, you're not using the phrase unidentified flying objects, you have another euphemism for it, unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is not.
I didn't come up with that. That's the one that the military uses.
That could be a cloud burst too. That's never been observed, right?
That's the one we used. And what we're saying, so the Office of Naval Intelligence, this is has impacted the Navy for the most part. Have seen reports on this now for the better part of a decade. Other countries have had similar reports, and but for our perspective is, there is someone flying in the airspace that no one else is allowed to fly in, and we don't know who it is. And
why don't people? Why does it take Marco Rubio to do this? We should.
Well, we had.
We should be demonstrating in the streets for this information too, man.
The other guy.
Harry Reid.
Harry Reid, yes. They showed him again on the History Channel the last episode. I'm disappointed with how that's going. I thought they were going to start bringing out the meta materials. It's still about sightings.
Yeah, I want to see Harry Reid or Tom DeLonge or somebody come out at a press conference and take a thin sheet of what looks to be completely flat, like steel, and crinkle it up and then open it back up and have it spring back. And then he shines a light on it and there's this weird hieroglyph. Let's start doing that. Or I don't know.
It's like Tom DeLonge got sidelined because he's not even he wasn't much in the show I think. And then even on the podcast, Luis Elizondo's doing all the podcasts. These two clips I'm going to play.
Luis Elizondo has got the experience, man. He's the expert, dude.
He's the one running the show. That's what just.
Well, wouldn't you want?
No, Tom DeLonge's supposed to be the CEO, running everything. Got all these guys together, did all this. They put him on such a high pedestal. You could tell he's not running anything. Well, this is so set up.
He's a damn drummer for a rock band.
Druggy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I can't say that about. But he had some money and startup and an interest in it. But if you know what? If I was Tom DeLonge, and even if I was myself and I had a bunch of money and I assembled this all-star team of ex-Pentagon intelligence and astrophysicists, you know what I would do? I'd sit in that damn boardroom and I would say, look, you guys are in charge here because you're the experts. And I'm just, I'll be the CEO by name. And when we hit it big, I'll get all the money or whatever. But I mean, really, Tom DeLonge does not have the experience or chops to be dealing with this stuff. So that's I think Luis Elizondo's a great
for the publicity.
Yeah, because people will the Blink 182 fans, at least they got they'll at least follow it, but I think that's smart to have Luis be in charge.
Okay, so here is Luis Elizondo getting questioned about why do we bring it to the threat narrative.
I think it would be good, Lou, for you to explain why the word threat is thrown around with this. Because I think people think we're just fear mongering or something. And I think, once we can describe that part, the second part of the mechanism that maybe Chris can describe is what was needed to take that information to actually get this legislation proposed. So, why do we use the word threat? Where did that come from associated with this subject so people understand why it's out there?
No one can tell you unequivocally something is or is not a threat until you have all the data. Okay, so frankly, we don't have all the data.
How about 60 years of not being
let's
shot
look
at?
Where this program resided. It resided in
absence
the
of
Department
evidence does not
by definition, department, entire organization that is aligned to defending your national security of a country. So Department of Defense. It's not, Department of Humanitarian Assistance.
So to your point, if I haven't done anything for you for how many long we've been seeing each other, I could still be considered a threat.
Well, potentially, right?
It's meaningless.
Just because you haven't attacked me yet, well, it doesn't mean you
but
want
what I'm saying is what you just said is meaningless.
But see, I use the absence of evidence does not suggest necessarily the absence of what you're trying to observe. That's that's a Bigfoot comeback, Sasquatch comeback. But here's a thought. I don't want to get down the rabbit hole too much, but I've often wondered why we as the human race from early on have focused so much on mining gold and diamonds. Okay. Come to find out, gold and diamonds are used very heavily in tech circuit boards, out in space to deflect stuff, lasers, diamonds, things like that. So here's my thought. Just came up with it just now. These aliens came down, Anunnaki or whatever, so many years ago, tweaked our DNA and set us on a path of mining all of these highly technologically beneficial minerals from the earth, and even now we're getting lithium and all this stuff and making all this great, and as we've progressed, we've been consolidating all of that wealth into a smaller and smaller amount of people, right? The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. So somewhere we're amassing all of this gold and these diamonds and all this precious metals that can be used.
So they're just going to come down and grab them.
They're just going to wait another couple hundred years until only 3 or 4 people have this, and then they don't have to go all over. They can only just stop at a handful of places. Anyway,
interesting theory.
So I don't.
Let's finish this clip.
It's not, Department of Humanitarian Assistance. It's not the Department of All Seeing Kumbaya. It is the Department of Defense. So everything that the department does is aligned to identifying real, perceived, or potential threats. Okay, I think where this falls into the category of is potential threats, because we don't have enough information to establish whether something is or is not a threat. So, at least from my time in ATIT, we had to work under the auspices that everything is a potential threat until we are sure it is not a threat. And frankly, you want your Department of Defense to look at things through that optic. We're not a humanitarian assistance organization. When you look at what the job is of the Department of Defense, it's to very quickly identify and neutralize a potential adversary.
Okay. So, yeah.
They're erring on the side of caution, right? Don't trust anybody.
But the thing is, it's not that isn't it. They know what it is already, whether they at the Department of Defense know or not. Some people in Area 51 do.
Yes, there's groups that know that just aren't.
They need to talk to each other. If they know that the craft was going on down there, send somebody down there and figure this thing out.
Yeah, and if anything, just to save money, why waste money investigating something that somebody else already knows?
Exactly. We've spent so much money doing things over and over again. Now we're going to do another Project Blue Book that we've already done. We've already stuck tons of money into this, but it has to be the public one now to bring the public up to speed.
Yeah. Well, it's our money, Dan. We're paying it. So what?
It's my money, and I want it now. Here's another clip.
We are not fear-mongering. We're not trying to go out and, if you will, saber rattle and get people energized and say, we need to go out with pitchforks and torches, and this is an absolute threat. The bottom line is we don't know. And anybody who says that they know for sure it's not a threat, they don't know what they're talking about, because they don't. I don't think any of us at this point really know whether or not definitively this is or is not a threat. So I think just to be on the side of safety is that we go ahead and presume something with this type of technological capability could be a threat, should it want to be a threat.
If it wants to be,
right? And here's a whole other thing too. Maybe they don't give two shits about us on the planet. They're just doing whatever they want, because it's like, would we really do we really care whether an anthill has cares that we're poking at it with a stick or whatever? Maybe they just, I don't know, Dan.
Okay, so let's go to the Corey Good briefing. So now he is saying that Trump was briefed that Roswell was us from the future, and it's basically allowed us to technologically advance. So that's what he's supposed to. And remember when he got questioned by his son, what do you know about Roswell? He said, it's very interesting.
And looked off camera for approval.
The way he kind of acted kind of tells me that this is accurate, that that's what he was told. Now, is he being lied to? I think actually Roswell was a time travel thing with aliens.
Really? Yeah, I was kind of reading ahead in your notes there.
Because what they said was the Greys were us from the future. We had to come back to fix the DNA.
Yep. Right. Issue. Yeah. Deficiency that's affecting them, 50,000 years in the future. Yeah.
But isn't it easier to push that aliens are here versus there's something from the future? I mean, you start getting into time travel.
What's easier to believe? What's easier to swallow, right? That we can do time travel, whether intentionally or not, right? Or do something to pull things back from the future, or that aliens are out there. I don't know. What's harder to believe? I don't know.
Yeah. So then they also said that Space Force will gradually incorporate these advanced technologies used in the secret space programs, and then that'll be public knowledge, or there will be no public acknowledgement that such technologies were covertly used.
Whatever.
Prior.
Anybody that's they gotta have a brain knows that they're using anything that.
Well, we do, but the general public, you see how dumb they are. They're not going to know. They're not going to even care. And this is what it'll be. I mean, the TR-3B, we thought we were going to get shown that and actually have it. Oh, here it is. But that's not going to go down that way. Not at all. Which is very disappointing. But at least I guess the ball is rolling. I was going to mention something. I forgot what the hell it was.
Yeah, agreed. The ball's rolling. Checking into the chat. Creative Goddess talking about sleeping in the yurt with with the rainstorm at the East City Ranch. I don't know what it was. I got the good one. I stayed dry. All the other yurts around me got wet. I stayed dry.
Actually, I was in the Pyramid House, and even there was a little bit of a leak.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, one of the beds got leaked on.
Well, when I woke up at the side of the bed, towards the wall was a little wet.
Yeah.
Damp.
Yeah, and you were in the house. And so anyway, but that was crazy. That rained for a long time.
Well, they said James Gilliland was talking about plowing that thing down. And I almost think what he should do if he's going to have all these conferences and stuff, just build a square building and then just have like a hotel kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of doing it now anyway that way.
Yep. Yeah.
Might as well do it.
Well, he's already got the shed. That'd be the conference
shed. Yeah, just put like a big like apartment block.
Yeah, because he's got a nice stage in that shed and can hold a lot of people, and so.
So I guess we'll hit the QAnon stuff about all this crap that's going to go down. Probably should have did this earlier now that I look at what it's talking about. But anyway, so when we talk about QAnon. I got disappointed with some of the stuff because it's like, nothing's happening. It said this stuff was supposed to happen in November. Nothing happened then. But what we're finding out is it's a 3-year delta. So he said stuff in 2017, and now
is coming around.
It'll be coming around. Yeah. So this first one here, this was post 64
in 2017, November 2nd. Yeah.
Yep. So it's gonna be November 2nd, 2020. Is when this should happen. So it says, fellow patriots, I'm being advised actions have been accelerated counter actions. We have not yet ascertained the scope of the attack. Watch the news outlets. POTUS Twitter takedown was not by accident. And you can already see this happening, by the way, folks. They've taken down a couple tweets of what Trump has, especially that hydroxychloroquine when that one got taken down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So should the lights go out, please know we are in control. Do not panic. We are prepared.
We just heard that not too long ago too, though. 10 Days of Darkness, right? That was more tech.
This might actually be the 10 Days of Darkness.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. I'll tell you what, man. I don't care when it happens.
Whatever it is.
When the shit turns off, I'm gonna be on board and ready to go, man. I'm still like on the fence on some of this stuff.
Okay, this one's a long one, so I'm just going to read a small part of it here. Okay, actually, maybe I have to read the whole thing here. This is post 34, posted on November 1st, 2017. So when this happens in this coming November before the election, they're going to pull his Twitter down. Stuff's going to get really crazy. We can see that it's probably going to be a civil war either way it goes. And this is probably what'll happen. So Q clearance patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3, that's November 3rd. Upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11/4, confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not openly be accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in efforts to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. Could you say that's why they're probably having the military out for these vaccine deliveries? That's kind of a good cover, ain't it?
If it's 3 years exactly, that's election day, man.
Yep.
Arrest Podesta on election day. That would be interesting.
False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessary. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has
Well,
long been
that's how it is
broadcast.
right now, yeah.
Now here's where it says, because they're going to take his Twitter down, so he's going to have to say, so here it says, we'll be initiating the emergency broadcast system during this time in an effort to provide a direct message and avoid the fake news to so they can broadcast to all citizens. Organizations and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad.
Well, we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
I will sit and patiently wait, Dan.
if it doesn't happen this time, forget it, because this now looks like exactly how it was supposed to go down. And when we take Project Looking Glass into it, they know what's going to happen. I believe even the Democrats have a looking glass, and they know they're going to lose the election, so they're just like trying everything they can. I wanted to show this one too, just for the hell of it, because I've been getting a little pissed about Q's post not showing anything. So this guy here, Anonymous, posted, I see what's happening, but would like to see you guys do something about it already. We know all this. We are helpless to it all. So the real question is, Q, do you see what is happening? And yeah, they basically just says,
And that's Q's response there?
Yeah, it's kind of long, so I don't want to go through it all, but basically saying that we have to go slow so other people can see it. Enough must see. That's how people learn. They got to see it for themselves and see the corruption take place. But
well, that's that whole Satanist view there, man. The Satanists are limiting our connection to God or whatever.
Look at this too. This is post 4388. This was on June 2nd, 2020. Military, all systems go. 11/3 marker. So think of it logically, the only way is the military, fully controlled, save and spread. Once 11/3 verifies his first marker, biggest advance drops on a POL. I don't know what POL is. But 11/3, so you got Podesta arrest in there, and then you also have Trump tweeting November 3rd. So, if it's going to happen, this is the time it happens. I'm going to open this other picture up here, because this is really interesting. If you have a monitor, it's not color graded right, you're going to see it right away. But mine, I got deep blacks on it, so you don't see it here. Let me zoom in on this. Okay, so for folks that are listening on the podcast, we got a picture of Prince Andrew looking like he's having a good time there with a little younger lady.
Like how young? Is it one of those?
I think so.
Ugh.
But she's looking like she's having some fun too. Side issue.
Yeah.
Let's take.
I'm not gonna comment on
Let's take a color. What was this? Yeah, color adjustment. Let me go to curves. I'm gonna drop this on the picture, and now I'm gonna bend the curve so we can see the background.
Oh.
Sure.
I see somebody pointing.
Yeah, that's what I want to show.
Is that Ghislaine Maxwell?
Does it look like? Let me zoom in on it.
Oh, I think I know where you're going at.
That look. I guess it could be a woman's hand.
Yeah, it's super long.
It almost started
finger.
to look like something not of this earth, like a reptilian finger.
I can see that. Yeah, that's just a really bony finger hand. I don't know. It doesn't strike me. It jump out quite as much.
I just thought it was worth sharing.
Yeah, interesting.
Something to think about.
Scroll back out a little bit to kind of like put it back in perspective here.
Oh, you would do that to me?
All right, never mind. No. All right, sorry, Dan.
Well, you asked for it. Let's deliver. There it is.
There it is back there.
All right.
Prince Andrew likes to party.
And we'll see if this comes to a head or not. I don't know.
God, you'd think Prince Andrew would have been arrested by now.
Well, apparently he's staying overseas because if he comes over, that's when they can actually hold
him. Yeah.
So one more thing before we close the show up today. Thank you guys for watching and sticking with us. Remember I showed this picture with Boris Johnson. This was from a viewer. He pointed it out to me, so I wanted to show this. I thought this was Boris Johnson in his bed with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
This is what a viewer sent to me. And it says as follows. Zoom in on it here. Okay, this isn't Boris Johnson, but rather looks like the obelisk monument in Switzerland called the Child Eater of Bern, which is nearly 500-year-old sculpture of a child molester, or in other words, a PDP, but I can't type
pedophile, yeah.
Well, we probably shouldn't have said that, but no, this show's getting pulled down regardless.
Okay,
we talked about too many different.
Can we talk about Jeffrey Epstein? Epstein didn't kill himself,
but I can't keep it all. Yeah. So there you go. I'll bring a picture up here.
Yeah, please do. Oh my God.
So yeah, you could sit. Let me do a side by side.
The mouth there. Is that the only statue or picture of the child leader we have?
Oh, there's tons of them. That's just the one I grabbed. But
look at the eyes.
It's just something to think
about. And the
about.
Nose and the mouth is open. So
but if you think about it, it does go with that ritual that they were doing.
Well, Moloch, they worship Moloch, man, and he's the demon of child sacrifice. So. Oh my God.
So yeah, all right.
Tell you what, if I ever see anybody eating a baby, I'd lose it, man. That's crazy.
Oh, I want to show this clip too before we close out. This is crazy. So this is an old woman trying to cross the street.
I think I've seen this one before.
I'll play it here.
Yeah.
So there's Antifa's yelling Nazi scum. It's an old lady in a walker just trying to cross the damn street.
Yeah, and an old guy.
This is how bad humanity has gotten. So where does it end? You got a high note for us to leave on, Pete?
Yeah, let's think of something here. Going canoeing tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, high note. Marco Rubio.
Oh, there you go.
New respect, Marco Rubio. Go get him. Let's hear some stuff. Yeah, let's hear some stuff about UFOs, Marco. You got my support on that, man.
Yep, and we'll see what the future brings. Could be bright, could be a little scary here, but just be prepared. Again, we should have shows if we don't get taken down. Please go follow us on the audio podcast there on your favorite platform. The link is below in the description because this channel might get pulled someday. I mean, already, like I said, videos are getting pulled. This one will probably get pulled. The future is probably audio anyway.
Yeah.
The way stuff's going until we get a strong platform.
Underground radio stuff. Hey, before you cut out, Dan, I just want to say too, I've been kind of keeping an eye on the chat. I know that we had some differing views on some stuff going on in the chat. I just want to say, there was even Casper even mentioned, if we all agreed on everything, it would be a boring place. So, keep the chat respectful, man. There's people have choices and different ways. If you're looking to convince somebody to think like you or to come over to your side, kindness and logic and science helps. So just be cool. And we're all on this big freaking rock together. So just let's be nice to each other. So
yeah, Neil, we are on BitChute already, so that link is in the description as well.
Oh, good.
It's just the audience isn't there, so if we get everybody over there, I'm to the point where I'm just so sick of YouTube with the crap.
Yeah, it's getting to be all this red tape. So,
and Creative Goddess also said too that August is supposed to be a hot month. Q's talked about that, and when Congress goes away
for their summer vacation, their summer break or whatever.
Yeah, that's
right?
when some stuff's supposed to go down.
Well, good. Let's do it.
See.
Let's do this. Daniel, I keep my firearms oiled up, my ammunition counted, man, just ready to go.
Yep. Got to be prepared.
Yep.
What is it? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
That is the saying.
All right. See you guys later.
Talk is cheap.